What's up YouTube? Hulkyboy87 here. As promised, I'm going to be doing a review on the Alienware 15 laptop. I've had it for about a week now. I'm going to be doing a first impressions video for anyone that's looking to buy the machine. I know that when I was looking around on YouTube at various videos, there's quite a lot on the Alienware 13 with the amplifier, but not too much on the 15. I'm just going to give you a rundown on what I've bought in terms of spec. How I'm finding it, and some of the cool stuff that Alienware include in their laptops, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you will know, the FX lighting areas. The boot time on it is pretty good. I mean, I've got an SSD in there, so I mean, I'm getting boot times of about 11 and a half seconds. I've got the terabyte as a storage option. I mean, it's only a 5400, so it's not going to be that fast, but with the SSD in there, it is pretty quick. I will just give it a fire up first so we can have a look. I've gone for the green lighting to begin with. I mean, you can go a bit wild and play around a bit, but that's it. It's pretty much ready to go there and then. Just log in. Okay. Just to run down on the spec that I've got. I mean, the base model i7 I purchased, which is a 2.5 with a 3.5 boost. I doubled the RAM from 8 to 16 gig. I've also gone, like I said earlier, got the 256 SSD. I mean, for me, it was only an extra 50 quid to upgrade from the 128 to the 256, and I'm glad I did, because after installing a couple of games and putting Office and everything else on there, just on the SSD, I've kind of used up about half of it, so I'm glad I've got the extra space to play with. I have the GTX 970M NVIDIA graphics card with 3 gigabytes. I have purchased the amplifier with a GTX 980, which I'll do a review on at some point when that arrives. But today we're just going to do basic Alienware 15. I've gone for the 4K screen, which, as you can see, it's a touch screen. The resolution kind of threw me. I mean, I'm not even used to a 1980 by 10 or 1920 by 1080 screen, let alone a full 4K. But they do. You can increase the size of the icons and everything on there to 250%, which is what it is now, which kind of makes it a bit easier to see the icons and everything. I mean, the menu on that doesn't come up too small, but if you do change it, it does get a bit hard to see. Let's see if we can get the line a bit better. Sorry about that. Yeah, I opted for the 4-year warranty on it as well. I can't be too careful. I mean, I had the Inspiron 1525 before I purchased this one, and I'm glad I did take out the 4-year warranty as well with the accidental, because I did drop it once or twice. I'm a bit of a clumsy twat like that. And especially with it being an Alienware, it's going to be hard to get parts, and even if you can get them, they're going to be pretty expensive. So when you're shelling out £2 on a laptop, I'd rather have, you know, spend a bit extra and get some protection, so I do have any faults or anything like that, it's going to get basically just replaced or returned and replaced. The battery life on it, I generally, when I'm gaming, have it on. I have it on AC. I mean, at the moment with 88%, let's see if we can get that out there for you. We're getting about 4.5 hours with 88%. I mean, generally it ticks around 4.5, 5 hours on just general use, on balanced performance. On, if we can change it onto high performance, obviously the screen lights up, and I'm not too sure what difference that makes, except the screen brightens up, and I'm guessing it's going to use a bit more of the processors. When I'm gaming, you generally get about an hour on it if you're not using AC, so if you're going to be gaming, you're best off just putting the power supply in to keep it going, so you don't have to worry about it crashing halfway through. With the Alienware light zones, this is a new thing for me, because I've never had an Alienware before. And I'm going to say it's pretty cool. I was playing around with it earlier, and as you can see, I've gone for the green at the moment. But just to give you guys an idea of what you can get on there, you can go wild. There's 10 different light zones, and there's 20 colours for each light zone. And they worked out, it comes to 10 trillion light combinations, something crazy like that. So you can just completely customise it and have it your own way. As you can see on here, you've got the 4 light zones, which are the 4 sections of the keyboard. You've got the touchpad as well, which lights up to your colour. You've got one down the front here. The power button itself also lights up. The Alienware here lights up, and as you can see on the back, on the lid, you've got the Alienware logo on the back with the 2 lights on there, and the macro keys along here. You've got 5 macro keys, which you can, I'll go through that briefly in a moment, that you can customise. The themes, they do come pre-installed with various themes. I mean, they are pretty crazy. I mean, they do a basic warning, which basically puts it into pulse mode, where everything just kind of goes a bit wild and flashes, which is going to do your head in if you're sitting in the dark. Personally, I just opted for a solid colour, but you can, like I said, create your own theme and tailor it to do what you want. You can get it to fade between one colour to another, and you can have 2 or 3 different colour fades on each area, so you can play around with the tempo of how often it pulsates and how long it does between the actions. We've also got on here the Alien Fusion, which basically dictates what happens when you close the lid, power button action, turn off the display, go to sleep, etc. Adjust screen brightness. You can even go into advanced settings and even get the hard disk to turn off after a certain amount of time, get it to go to sleep. Just a bit more playing around with the settings if you really want to go that deep. I personally just have it on the basic quick settings, play around with that. You have the Alienware Tact X, which is where you can customize what your macro keys on the side do. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can customize them. You can always change the color as well. I mean, I've just kept them on the green as before, but you can change the colors pretty much on everything, which is pretty cool. I mean, like I said, I've never had an Alienware before, so it's a bit new for me. The Alienware Adrenaline is where you can check performance monitoring, see what's do some real-time performance monitoring, so you can see how much of the CPU, GPU, RAM is being used, and you can see I'm just on idle, so it's just going to be ticking along pretty low. It's using 3 gig on idle and 1% CPU, nothing on the GPU because we're not doing anything on it. You've got the graphics amplifier as well, but obviously you have to connect that, and I don't have it yet because it's not been dispatched. I've only ordered it yesterday, so we're going to have to wait for that to turn up before we can play around with some of them settings. The weight on this thing, I mean, I had a few people in my previous video ask me about how portable it is and how heavy, etc. I mean, it's not too bad, to be fair. I mean, it's about 3.2 kilos or 7 pounds, depending on what metric system or whatever it is you're using, so it's not too heavy, really. You wouldn't want to carry it around all day. I mean, like I said in my other video, I've got the Alienware Amplifier backpack, and Vindicator 17 backpack, sorry. And my lighting is screwing up. And yeah, so basically I did buy a game just to play around, and I got the new game Dying Light, and in 1080p it's flawless. I mean, you can have the settings on complete max and it will just play everything easily. It does native resolution. It'll try and play the game in 4K, which can be a bit annoying, but you can go into the settings and change that, so that even that when you change your resolution to 980 to HD 1920 by 1080, it will actually play the game in that and not try and scale it up to the native resolution. I mean, even with the 4K resolution selected, it was still playable, but it was a bit jumpy, a bit sketchy in certain areas, so you really do want to get the amplifier if you want to play certain games like that in 4K. I mean, I've got Counter-Strike on there, I'm an old school Counter-Strike player, so I mean, on Counter-Strike Source, for example, I'm getting, I know it's a very old game, but I'm getting 300 FPS in 1080 resolution, and in 4K I'm still getting between 80 and 100, so it's, you know, playable in all resolutions, really. Other than that, I've not had any problems or any faults, touch wood, so far that have come up with it. I'm very happy with it. It's got a nice, on the palm here, it's got a nice rubberized effect, which feels quite nice on your hands when you're using it. And as I've said before, when the amplifier does turn up, I've got a GTX 980 to go in the amplifier. We'll do some FPS tests and see how it performs. I've also ordered 2 24-inch dual screen monitors for my tower, which is currently going to be sat here. It's going to replace this Pants Asus monitor, the 19-inch one, and we'll hook the amplifier up to them screens and see how it performs when it's gaming and bits and pieces like that. So that's pretty much it. I mean, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, comment, share the video, do whatever you feel like, basically, as long as you're not going to abuse me. Thanks for checking out my video, and as I said, I will do some more videos in a few days. Cheers.